This is Deborah Atkinson, and you're listening to Flipping 50, where I address your top questions and things you struggle with most so you can have more energy and less decision fatigue about what to eat, how to move, and you can change your thoughts to flip 50 with the life and the energy you love in this second half. And today's show maybe will help you flip somebody else's second 50 with the life and the energy you love in them. My guest today is the guy's guy. Dr. Jerry Bailey is a guy's guy. He's a chiropractor, acupuncturist, and functional medicine doctor. He's also a dad to two amazing boys and loves the outdoor lifestyle in the Pacific Northwest. He's done Ironman, both full and half, along with competing in Masters level CrossFit competitions, placing first in the Masters team division. He practices functional medicine in Idaho and Washington, along with being the host of the insanely fun and popular show, The Guy Show, where he interviews the experts offering their best tips, tricks, and tutelage in health, wealth, and mindset for guys and the gals that love them. His irreverent look at life, health, and mindset allows guys to talk about the things that matter most to them while keeping it real yet approachable. He's been there, done that mentality allows him to really understand what men in midlife are going through, and his humorous approach allows for fun but serious talk on the topics that affect men in the midlife. I have been asked so often by so many of you listeners, do you have a guy who can do what you do for me for my significant other, my spouse, maybe my dad, or maybe my son? And here he is. Jerry, thanks for being here.
Oh, I am so excited to be here, Deborah. We're going to have a blast today.
I know. And I just want to let anybody knowing. So I know some of you walk, you tell me you run, or you're lifting weights, or you're commuting. If you have children in the show, this is not your show. Okay? if there are children in the car, you might want to listen to this one later because we have no promises. All right.
We don't know where we're going, but we're going to end up somewhere.
Absolutely. You brought with you some things we're going to unpack because I was so curious, and I think women are too. It's like, maybe the question is there a menopause? Is there really a menopause? Is that what we're looking at today?
Yeah, there is, we have, menopause for women, which is men on pause. Okay. That's what menopause is.
I love them.
For men, we have womenopause, which women go on pause at that point for us too. And so, there's definitely a midlife male menopause, or andropause, as we call it, is more the clinical term that we use. There isn't really a defined one within healthcare itself as having a specific name, but essentially, there is a midlife crisis in men that occurs where testosterone starts to drop and estrogen starts to increase, and we see a shift within both the biochemistry and the neurochemistry of guys.
So good. Okay. And fair is fair. So there's a lot of women out there glad to hear this.
Yeah. We get moody also. We get sensitive.
You think you got to tell me that?
No, I'm just confirming.
Okay.
From a guy's perspective, that yes, we feel very similar. We don't typically have the higher levels of estrogen and progesterone that women have. We're primarily testosterone, but we do have the estrogen levels and progesterone levels, and those affect us. I mean, for myself included in there, that higher level of testosterone in men that increases not only from the aging process, but also from the environmental estrogens, the xenoestrogens that are out there that contribute to that same response.
So many. Yeah. So for you guys, I like to say this because it's just kind of fun, but like too much estrogen gives you man boobs.
Oh, yeah. Yes, definitely. That's a huge issue for guys.
Not attractive.
No. And, guys are going through breast reduction surgeries too.
Oh my gosh. You're kidding me.
No, it happens. It's more talked about within the bodybuilding world from the steroid use and the gynecomastia that occurs from steroid use.
Yeah.
But it is occurring too as guys get older. Because of the breast tissue development, the fat tissue development within there, they're going through the quote unquote breast reduction surgery to remove that too.
Wow. Okay. I don't even want to go there. That's icky. Okay. I do.
Surprisingly, men want to go through breast reduction surgery. You would think it would be opposite, but
Okay. So you've got 7 things.
Yeah.
That guys should do every day, or just about every day, according to science, research, and personal experience. So if you will, are these in order of importance? Let's tell the listeners that.
You could say, the top 3 really are, I think, the biggest 3 that are in order of importance. And the other ones are things you should be doing daily that are really important for overall getting your body to really function the way it's supposed to. But the first 3 are key for not only health in general, but for testosterone, for erectile dysfunction, for brain health, for everything. These 3 things are epically huge to do. And if you don't do them, there's a real issue. You're going to see that progressive degeneration in the male body. And that developed, like you said, of the man boobs, the development of erectile dysfunction, of cardiovascular issues, brain decline, and everything in there.
Wow. Okay. So let's go. Drum roll. Number one. Eat real food. Don't eat factory food. Eat those whole foods, preferred organic if you can do that as possible. Grass-fed meats, good fats. Eat real food. If it comes from a factory, if it comes from a box bag or a can or made by man, probably don't eat it. It's not good for you. It's going to cause major health problems for you. For a long time, it was said, you'd see your cardiologist or see your primary care. You got blood pressure issues, you got cholesterol issues, and they're like, you need to cut salt out of your diet. Well, that's true, but it's really not a salt issue. It's the processed food issue. So what they should be saying is avoid processed foods. If it comes in that box bag or a can or made by man, don't eat it. It's really bad for you. Second point to that really is you need to learn to count your macros itself, your carbs, your fats, your protein. We are typically under-proteined and over-carbed and over-fat in today's society. Now, I know keto is kind of making a big slam here. Paleo was big for a long time. Vegetarian diets are all big. You really got to balance those out. And it's almost what we're seeing working for a majority of people is really kind of getting back to that zone-ish type diet, that 40-30-30 as a starting point, and then be able to modify from there. So counting your macros, learning to do that, where you can use like MyFitnessPal apps or other things to really count out those macros, because that's going to help you determine what your food is doing to not only fuel your body, but also help you to lose weight and get rid of those things that are developing as you get older. I so love that. And I concur wholeheartedly. I think, we've talked for so long, we've given this lip service to eating a balanced diet. And then nobody really had a definition for what is that? What does that mean to you? And really, when you come back to that 40-30-30, you're looking practically at, a third of each. That just makes it a whole lot simpler.
Mm-hmm. It does make it simpler. And then once we get a baseline going and we can see how a person's physiology is responding to that, then we can really start tweaking it more. Like, hey, if you're an endurance athlete, you're doing Ironman or marathon running or things like that, you're going to need more carbohydrate. Now, if you're doing, and still high protein, but less fat in there. Now, if you're more of a CrossFitter or weight training and those things, you're going to need significantly less carbohydrate and more protein to build that muscle mass and keep it going. So it all depends on what you're doing for working out, how we can tweak that. But that 40-30-30 or third really hits it into a really good sweet spot to see what you need. If you aren't doing a ton of cardio, and this is my philosophy, and this is backed up with a lot of the research too, along with Lauren Cordain's work with paleo type diets, is if you are not exercising for more than an hour to an hour and a half a day, like if you're exercising more than an hour and a half a day, you need additional carbohydrate in the system. If you aren't, then you don't. And that's hard for people to get and understand.
I love that. And is there a gender difference, Jerry? So my question is, for a lot of the women I work with, they are probably doing too few carbs. They've really swung the other way. Mm-hmm. And they're struggling with mood. And sleep because of it. Mm-hmm. What about guys? What's typical there?
Same thing. We'll see if they go too low, then they have issues. If they go too low fat, particularly we'll see that with vegetarians and vegans. They're too low of fat within there. That really affects hormones. I mean, our hormones, our reproductive hormones, estrogen, progesterone, DHEA, testosterone, and our stress response hormones, the cortisol, all come from cholesterol, which is fat. And so we need fat in the diet, but we'll see that if we get too low a carb, then we're not feeding the system. We get a little ketogenic there, which can be good, but it can affect brain function and brain and mood and hormone responses that way too. So it's finding that sweet spot in there is, maybe they do better with a 45 carb and still 30 and 25 fat, so it's finding that sweet spot. But once we get a baseline with them, then we can adjust from there.
Yeah, I love that. It's all about, okay, let's start at what we know to be pretty true for men or women in midlife, and then see how you respond to that. And then we move our rook or a pawn or king from that, right?
Exactly.
Got it. Okay. So number 2, we're going to start with real food. Number 2 is
supplements. We have to supplement the diet. It's impossible. And this gets argued a lot, but I'm a firm believer in this because I see it in my practice for the last 18 years. We have to supplement diet. There is no way to get in enough nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and all the phytonutrients, along with the fats, carbs, and proteins. There's not enough food to take in every single day to combat what we're exposed to, what we've been exposed to, and to support the body to be able to detoxify. So getting supplements into the thing that are good, safe, and effective is really key. And a lot of times the over-the-counter stuff that you can get at stores is not the best forms. There's kind of 5 supplements for sure that I recommend, 6 to help guys if we're seeing it within their testing. A great multivitamin is essential to be able to really give good nutrients that are broadcast throughout the day for you itself. And the multis themselves, I always tell people, there's like, well, what one should I get? Should I get the one a day over the counter? Should I get this one that says take 2 a day? Should I do this, or this? What I say is grab that vitamin, whether it's from your practitioner that you're seeing, your health coach, your nutritionist, your trainer, your doctor, whoever it is recommending it. Grab it and go to the back of it. Look at the label. Look for your B12. Go right to your B12 and then look and see what it says. If it says cyanocobalamin, which is a cyanide-type-based B12, get rid of it. It isn't doing anything for you. It's not helping your mitochondria or your body function. You want it to say hydroxy, adenosine, or methylcobalamin, so you're getting a good form of B12 along with other good nutrients in there. If the company skimps on one, particularly B12, because it's inexpensive, they're going to skip on everything else. And it's going to be a poorly absorbed supplement that's really doing you no good in that process.
Such a great tip. Yeah. Okay. So definitely, if you're listening, I'm going to highlight that. That was at about 12:40. We're in here, and you want to go back and listen to that one when you have your bottle in hand. I will document that in the show notes. Okay. Yeah. So multivitamin is a must. Mm-hmm. And
vitamin D. Vitamin D is huge. It's a pro-hormone. It's antiviral. It's antimicrobial. It's really supportive of our immune system and our health in general. That one, you can get your vitamin D tested. It's really cheap. It's not expensive at all to get your vitamin D. Insurances typically don't cover it anymore, but your primary care, your functional medicine physician, anybody can order it. You can actually order it yourself too and get it checked. And we want you to be anywhere right around 70 to 90 nanograms per deciliter in your blood. But taking it itself, most of them will say like you can get 1,000 or 2,000 international units IU per day. We actually recommend, if you live in the United States, 8 to 10,000 IU a day is perfectly safe to take without any side effects from. And that's going to help with mood. It's going to help with energy, depression, anxiety, along with really a potent antiviral, antimicrobial, particularly in the wintertime. Vitamin D punches holes in the protective layer around the flu virus and actually helps the body to kill it.
Love that. And I'm so glad that you mentioned amounts, because I think people panic a little bit when they look at RDAs. And I feel like if we dive into that too far, we could go in a black hole. But maybe give a quick quote to me. I mean, what's your feeling about RDAs?
RDA, the recommended daily allowance, really what those were set up were initially based on 1950s standards for men at about 5'8" and 150 pounds. And those numbers were based on preventing overt nutritional deficiencies that cause nutritional diseases like rickets and scurvy and those type of things we don't typically see anymore in kids and young adults. So those numbers were based on just the base level you need so you don't show those diseases. They're not actually optimal levels or levels that really help prevent overall disease from happening and promote health. Those are just to prevent known nutritional deficiencies from occurring.
Fabulous summary. So you concur with this. If you really are wanting to thrive in 2018, taking a multivitamin that reached its peak in the 1950s is probably not going to do it.
Exactly. Or 2019, 2020, 2021. If you're basing your stuff on, 60-year-old model of research, while there is some great research that's still valuable from back then, no.
And thanks for catching that. I'm still writing checks from 2018 too. Thank you.
That's why it's multi-year. This is multi-year information.
Somebody will deposit in that account.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got multivitamins. We've got vitamin D. What else do we need?
We got omega fatty acids are essential because those are good fats for brain function through there, and helping with the brain function, helping with hormone function, and really making your cells soft and supple. As we age and we get higher cholesterol levels, we get higher oxidation of cholesterol in the body, creating those cardiovascular diseases. Our cells actually get harder and become denser. And so the omega fatty acids actually take those cells and make them more soft and supple and plump and healthy for us. Fantastic.
Miracle. Is there an amount you recommend, even just like starting?
Yeah, we say minimum of 2 grams of EPA and DHA a day, eicosapentaenoic and docosahexaenoic acid. I say those really fast because it's easy to say those fast. EPA, DHA. And you want to, and again, here's an option. Grab your bottle, take a look at it, and look at the backside. I don't care how much it says fish oil is in there. I want to know that EPA and DHA content because those have to equal 2 grams or more. So you could be taking on your fat bottle, your big giant bottle you bought at the box store, that's like, oh, I've just bought this for $10 and this is going to last me forever. No, you got to take 10 times the amount to get to a therapeutic dose. Mm-hmm. So you really are spending more money for less, and you're taking 20 pills a day, which I see regularly from the big box stores like that. You're taking 20 pills to get to a therapeutic dose that you could have gotten a tablespoon of the cod liver oil, or you could have gotten 2 to 4 pills of really good omega fatty acid.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. All right. So big ones. All right. Now you're going to give 2 a little bit lesser known ones. So what do you got here?
We got curcumin and we got CoQ10. Both fantastic products here. Curcumin itself, or it's an herb. It's an Indian herb. It's that wonderful orange one that gives curry its nice orangeness. And that one itself actually does so much throughout the body. It decreases inflammation, helps regulate glucose levels in the body too. It's one of those ones that right now it kind of does everything, and it's what we're seeing through the research and clinically we're seeing too. So curcumin is a great one per day that you could be taking both as an anti-inflammatory versus any of the other NSAIDs or even steroidal ones out there. This one works well above those without negative side effects.
Certain amounts, Jerry, for that one?
Yeah, the curcumin itself is usually about 700 milligrams to a gram a day is what you want of that. And you can divide that in a couple dosages through the day.
And just for listeners, so we clarify what that is. So often, I think there's a little confusion and people feel like, well, if they use a lot of turmeric in foods as they cook, that they'll be able to get enough curcumin. Do you want to address that?
There's no way they're going to.
Thank you.
If you're taking that, if you're using turmeric itself, you have to have pepperine or what's known as black pepper along with it. And the dosage you have to get, you are going to turn orange. I mean, you're not going to turn orange literally, but there's going to be a lot of orange in going in and coming out in that process. And you are not going to get enough in the system that way.
Awesome. Okay. And last but not least, talk about CoQ10.
Oh, I love this one. CoQ10 is really this little molecule right here. If you're taking a statin drug, you need to be on 300 milligrams a day, 300 milligrams of CoQ10 each day that you take that statin drug. Because what happens, CoQ10 out of the 5 steps that are along what's called the respiratory chain or the aerobic chain of energy production within the mitochondria of our body, which are little cells that produce our energy for us. CoQ10 feeds those last 3 steps, so that way we produce ATP aerobically. If we don't have ATP produced aerobically, so our energy doesn't get produced aerobically, we do it anaerobically, and it's a really poor way of creating energy. So we basically take from about like 38 ATP per gram down to about 6. So we lose our production. So adding CoQ10 in drives that process of increasing ATP production, so we have more energy for us. And then it also helps mitigate. So many processes in the body really require this supplement, also known as ubiquinone or ubiquinol, because it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere, hence the name. It goes to everywhere in the body and helps with all the processes. So we tell people pretty much, if you're on a statin, 300 milligrams. If you're not on a statin, 300 milligrams a day.
Okay. So 300 milligrams.
Yeah. Okay. Long story short, 300 milligrams.
I got it. Awesome. All right. Now you have a number 6.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely. And for guys in particular, looking at an estrogen blocker in the system. DIM, diindolylmethane, is a really good one. There's some other ones out there that work really well. Chrysin is another one that works, and along with a testosterone booster. Now, the thing is, with any of the herbal or over-the-counter testosterone boosters, we're not going to get to super physiological levels. We can bring your levels up to more normal levels, but we're not going to get to the higher levels or those super physiological doses that you'll see with actually taking testosterone. So those ones, particularly with guys, as we're aging, we tend to have increased estrogen. So taking an estrogen blocker will help in the process, along with a little bit of T booster, to kind of increase that testosterone naturally before we have to go to, if we have to go to also to actual dosing with testosterone. Got
it. So such great information in detail about each one. Here's my question for listeners. You are a doctor. You're not everybody listening's doctor or their guy's doctor. With any of the things that you've mentioned so far, would you suggest that safely you could go ahead and do this, or would you have them check for any interactions with something they may already be taking?
The first 5, the multi, the vitamin D, the omega fatty acids, the curcumin, and the CoQ10, those ones are generally safe for anybody to get over the counter and take themselves.
Awesome.
The curcumin, if you are taking any type of glucose lowering medications, diabetic type medication, you're going to want just to watch your glucose levels and monitor those, and have to have your medication adjust accordingly. That may happen. It may not. You just have to be very aware of that to check that as you're going through there. The estrogen blocker or the T booster itself, I would say get your levels checked. Not just blood work. Blood work is really good, but that gives you a snippet of what your body's actually doing with the hormones. You want to do what's called a Dutch test and find a provider in your area, functional medicine doc, that does that test, a Dutch test itself, DUTCH. That test looks not only at your levels, but how you're metabolizing those hormones, so we know how you're breaking them down, and then we can correctly better help you get your hormones in balance than just trying to give you a testosterone or give you an estrogen or an estrogen blocker.
Awesome. Great advice. Thanks. Okay. Number 3, we've got real food. We've got supplements. What else do we need?
Get off your butt and exercise.
I love him. Yep.
We didn't have to bleep out that one, but get off your booty, get up and get some exercise. If your gut's bigger than your butt, you need to do some exercise.
This guy is a poet. It's so good.
Yeah,
all right. And exactly what do you recommend? And let's talk about the guy who's not doing anything. Where does he start?
He's got to get off that couch and get walking.
Okay.
Start small, get movement, get some aerobic capacity built up in there. Start with simple calisthenics, push-ups, sit-ups if you can do it. You know, you might not be able to do a sit-up at this point in time, but do some push-ups, sit-ups, some good air squats. Just start there. Get some movement going. Work your way up into some weights and some strength training at a gym with a trainer. Have a trainer take you through it, so that way you know what you're doing. You know, use Deborah's videos, of course. She does an amazing job to help you get going and figuring out what to do. Work your way up to do more of the shorter, high-intensity interval training. That's going to be beneficial because you're hitting harder workouts, you're hitting the aerobic and anaerobic systems of your body, and you're getting healthier faster. And it doesn't take an hour. It doesn't take 2 hours a day. It's like 20 minutes a day is all you have to do.
Yeah. And almost, in fact, I just recently wrote in maybe another article about this, but shorter is better, right? Mm-hmm. So let go of the guilt that you can't exercise for an hour, because actually that could drive your hormones totally in the other direction anyway.
Exactly. It can totally mess with cortisol and lower testosterone levels within there. Shorter and shorter intensity is much more beneficial as we age because of the hormone changes we have and for our recovery time. It takes us longer to recover as we get older. And that's one thing. It's hard for guys to grasp that. I mean, I turned 46 this year, and it's harder for, my ego gets there too. When I go to the gym and I see the youngin' that can be my kid throwing some heavy weight around. I know I can do that weight too, but it's going to take me 4 days to recover, where he can come back tomorrow and do that weight again. So we have to check our egos as we get older at the door, so that way we can recover better and prevent injury from occurring.
So good. And that's hard for women too. And I think a part of that, maybe that'll be better 10 years from now, but don't you think we all grew up with these parents who taught us so well, the harder you work, the better results you get. And we listened, right?
Yeah,
so it's really hard to feel like, okay, if you rest, that's actually when the fitness is happening.
Yeah. Yep. Recovery happens. Muscle growth happens during that time, not during the workouts.
So good. Okay. So we need HIIT. We need strength training.
And simply walking, getting out and family time and going for a walk and playing with the family, with your kids or grandkids. That's so beneficial. The research on that is epic. And it's really, it's conclusive. Like, doing stuff with family is so good for our emotional state, our psychological state, our spiritual state, and our physical state. It really hits it in there because you're doing stuff with people you love, whether it's going for a hike or it's playing catch or it's doing something, riding bikes. You're doing stuff as a family, and it opens communication lines. So that way you're together and you can communicate better and live better, longer, healthy life. Yeah,
I'm so glad you said that. It's a funny thing. So this is me female, right? But playing later in life with your kids is such a gift, when sometimes they won't otherwise talk to you if you're playing golf together, right? Or you're in a boat, so you can water ski together. You get conversations you don't otherwise get.
Exactly.
So good.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we get into some dirt.
Some
and
dirty
this
things.
Is so funny. I know. So after we're eating whole food, we're supplementing that with the things we need to round that out, and we're getting exercise. What's up next?
Well, it's the question that always comes down to is sex life, and
of course,
how to improve sex life.
There, Jerry.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's one of the things that declines because, like I said earlier, if your gut's bigger than your butt, there's a problem. And if you look down and haven't seen your stuff hanging there for a long time without a mirror, there's a problem too.
Oh, God.
I'm keeping it PG.
All right.
Yeah. So, look, if erectile dysfunction itself is a blood flow issue. It's an overweight issue. It's a poor health issue. The smallest arteries and veins are affected first in our body. And that's where some of the smallest ones are, is that the penis itself is a tissue of blood filling. And there are very small arteries and veins in there that are filling up the tubes in there that create the erection. And if you're having peripheral artery disease, you're going to notice it there first. And so when it's not getting erect, it's not as erect as it should be, you're not getting the morning erections anymore, that's a problem with blood flow that you have to take care of. The medication can help, but so many side effects come from those erectile dysfunction medications that it's better. Like, if you eat right and exercise, it's not going to be like when you were 18 again, but it's going to get firmer. It's going to, if you lose weight in the front, it's going to get bigger, guys. It's shrinking because you're getting fatter. It's not shrinking because you're getting older. It's shrinking because you're getting fatter. So getting exercise is going to make it grow, both for blood flow and for losing that body fat along that groin area.
Cool. So this is really news to me. Okay. Guys can do Kegels.
Yes. Yeah. Kegel exercises, which women do to strengthen that pelvic floor. Guys, you can do that too. Should do it too. Because it increases the blood flow and the strength of the muscles in the area, and increases the blood flow to the penis, which in turn decreases erectile dysfunction. Research has shown it decreases it by 40% in 90 days alone. So if you do that every day, in 90 days, you have a 40% less likely chance of having erectile dysfunction.
Wow.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All you have to do, because people are like, well, how do you do that? It's like, well, when you contract your muscles to stop your urinary stream when you pee, that's all you got to do. You just stop that you just practice stopping that flow. You can do it sitting there talking to your wife, to your kids, to the people at the store. If you're at church or wherever you're doing, you can do that and nobody knows you're exercising.
All right, let's address sex and orgasms the way we would an exercise prescription. Let's talk about frequency, intensity, duration. And yes, I do laugh at my own jokes. I'm so sorry.
No, I frequency, intensity, and duration. Yes. Fixing erectile dysfunction will affect frequency, duration, and intensity for sure. There was a study done a few years ago by the American Urological Association. And this one's pretty funny because when we read this, we kind of chuckle. And because it's like, okay, the American Urological Association. So it's all these urologists, which is probably 90% male, did this study. And they came up to, after an 18-year study of looking at guys, they said guys who ejaculated 21 or more times per month experienced a 20% reduced risk of prostate cancer. And every single person I talk to, and even the guys I know that I see as patients, we all go, who are the guys doing this 21 times a month?
I want to meet their wives, right?
Right. Yeah. It's usually not their wife. It's usually themselves, some some self-happiness or pleasure that's occurring there, which is perfectly fine. It's healthy because orgasm itself and that release of not only, whether you have a vasectomy or not, so release of sperm through there or not, but the release of the seminal vesicles and the prostate fluid itself, which is the majority of what that ejaculate is, actually benefits the body overall because you get an increase of oxytocin and DHEA, which can prevent some cancers, but clearing of those ducts from the prostate itself and those seminal vesicles through the urethra actually helps decrease potential cancerous cells and cancerous things that are growing in there. So ejaculation is healthy for the body to clear those ducts, the prostate and everything, so it stays healthy.
Okay, perfect. And, your next point, the next thing on the list couldn't come at a better time, really. So what better time to talk about a cold shower than after sex?
Exactly.
So talk to me. This is a surprise.
Yeah, cold shower therapy is an old therapy. I mean, there's a couple of guys out right now that are this is Vamanoff or something like that. His process of cold therapy, of being in a cold pool for a while and stuff. It's been shown. I mean, naturopathic medicine for a long time, hot, cold, sitting baths, opposites, really good for the immune function. That cold shower itself. So you're taking a nice hot shower, you're stimulating kind of the parasympathetic, the relaxation system of the body through there. That quick burst of cold water for 15 to 30 seconds at the end of your shower really activates that sympathetic nervous system. It releases adrenaline. It wakes the body and the brain up. It gets you ready for the day. It also stimulates immune function in the body. So your immune system starts working. And it's as simple. All you got to do is sit there in the shower. It's nice and hot. Just flip it to the cold. And just what I call that Ric Flair effect, that woo, like Ric Flair did from wrestling. You get that woo blast of cold water for that 15, 30 seconds, and you're ready to go. Now, if you have previous heart issues, make sure you get it cleared first from your cardiologist that you can do this. I just want to preface that. But for the general population, you can do this cold shower therapy, and it really does affect the sympathetic nervous system. So it gets that fight or flight rocket in us. It releases adrenaline or epinephrine in the system, stimulates the body and the brain to get ready for the day, and it helps the immune system function better.
Okay, question for you. So here I am in Boulder, Colorado, triathlon mecca of the world. Every day that I go to swim, I see sitting in the corner the cold water tub.
Yep.
I see people get in it. I think about getting in it. I don't get in it. But is that the same thing? So finishing a workout, jumping in there and kind of submerging for no. Nope.
That's interesting. I have a mixed feelings about cold or the ice immersion or things after workouts. Research doesn't back it up. It actually slows metabolism. It slows clearing of the inflammatory process associated with working out. It actually shuts down mitochondrial function, so you don't heal as fast post-workout. So clinically, what we see, and definitely what we've seen in the research, is that cold immersion doesn't work in that sense for what they're trying to do.
Yes. I feel so much better. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah.
We can move right along.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, and I love this one.
Reading. Get away from our computers, our TVs. Get away from that blue light immersion from our computers, all that stuff that's inundated us day in and day out. That affects the brain so much. It affects hormones in the body itself too. Turn off your phones, turn off your iPads, turn off your computers, your TVs. Get back to paper. Get back to reading, the books. Get back to reading books you want to learn about. Anything and everything is beneficial, from self-help to, biographies, to fiction, to nonfiction, to Harry Potter. I mean, Harry Potter is a great series of books and they're huge. Kids and adults love them. Anything on health, just read. If you're going to be later at night with TV or other things on, get a pair of blue blocker glasses. I personally like the Baxter Blues out of Australia. They're stylish and they're not that yellow lens that to me look like you bought them at a gas station. They're I know I'm going to get in trouble for that one, but I don't. You're going to
get in trouble from me because it's what I gave my son, and now he's not going to wear them.
I just, they're getting a little more stylish, but the yellow lenses just remind me of you either going shooting or you bought them at a gas station. There. So there's other companies too, but I like the Baxter Blues out of Australia because they have really stylish frames and they look good and they block those blue and they're clear lenses. So I like those ones personally myself.
I love that. Okay. Awesome. And great gift, by the way.
Yeah.
As we're kind of releasing this and recording it in January, we're going to also, you may be listening to it later. It's all still relevant, but great gift for whatever holiday may be coming up, or a birthday or anniversary even. It's good for him. It's good for, if he's healthy, you're healthy. So
yeah. And glasses make people sexier sometimes.
I know. Well, that's why I like Reed. That's exactly what it made me think of. Mm-hmm. All right. So last but not least, number seven.
Number seven here. Schedule your day to be efficient. But be sure in that time period of your day to include family time. Studies have shown that when you schedule your day, you become more productive throughout the day. You don't sit as much. You don't waste time as much. I did a podcast recently with a gentleman who really says that every hour we should be getting up for 15 minutes and going for a walk and meandering and doing things to let the brain really open up and really allow it to think outside the box. So scheduling your day and scheduling downtime throughout the day is really beneficial for you. Planning out the day for what you're going to do. Really key for people is don't start with your phone. As soon as you grab that phone and you start flipping through, if it's Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or Pinterest or whatever it is you're going through, you actually become depressed. It actually shuts down brain function. What it does too is it creates a thing where I'm comparing my life to somebody else's life. So don't start with that phone. Get a gratitude journal and start with 5 minutes of journaling. It's an excellent way to do it 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night. So 10 minutes a day, you're done. And doing that journaling, what it does, it helps create you to allow you to have better focus during the day of what you need to accomplish. And the research shows when you do that, along with that gratitude portion of it, which is really, putting down a few things you're thankful for and things you want to see change that day, doing that helps you to be more thankful throughout the day, a more positive, more energetic person to not only yourself, but people around you. And it actually increases your productivity by 30%.
That's massive.
Which is huge. And if, to do the math on that, like if you increase your production by 30%, you are actually adding 7.2 hours into your day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge. I mean, we're not wasting a third of that day, which is 7.2 hours. Like we could have more done in a shorter amount of time have more time to do stuff.
We're so bad at this in the United States, for sure. I think actually other countries, when I've traveled to foreign countries, actually resented it because a lot of them, you want to be the tourist and shop, and they close up shop. Right? Mm-hmm. They take a nap.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Little siestas and everything. Oh, perfect. If we did that in the U.S., we'd be so much more productive.
Yeah. So great. That's a great one. And then, I think it helps too if you're listening to this, kind of sharing it with your guys, if you're reinforcing for them and for you that taking a break, doing the rest, and you realize that you've got to reinforce each other because there's plenty of resistance out there in the world to work. Mm-hmm. So, having somebody know this is what you're trying to do and supporting you doing it, really important.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Work is a 4-letter word. Like most of our swear words are 4-letter words, but fun is a 3-letter word. So it makes it a lot more fun to do fun than it is to do work.
So easy. Right. And you just reduced your workload by 25%. Exactly. Going from fun. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. From work to fun.
Awesome. So helpful. Jerry, where can the women or their guys get more Jerry?
Sure. So you can go to my website, theguyshow.net, and that's being built right now because I have so much stuff going on associated with the show and go with there. We're also doing what's called Guy Camp. And so that's going to be launching here soon, which is a retreat for guys to get away and have fun and learn some fun stuff while we're having fun and learn to have better health, wealth, and mindset within our lives there without being and sitting in class. Because that's key is, guys, we don't want to sit in class all day long. We want to go have fun like we used to do when we were younger and then learn while we're doing it. So Guy Camp's going to be launching soon. And so you can see us, theguyshow.net, the Guy Show live, both on Facebook and Instagram. You can go there and check those out and get information from there. And my podcast, The Guy Show, is on iTunes, of course.
Love it. I'm kind of jealous. Guy Camp sounds fun.
Oh, it's going to be a blast.
Are you going to make marshmallows around campfires and stuff?
Maybe.
All right. Listeners, if you have a question that we missed, this was loaded with great content, but there may be something we may have piqued your interest. Leave your question below the show link at flipping50.com/Guy Show. And join us on the Flipping 50 TV Facebook page for more conversation and to get all the juicy resources, the links to reach out to Jerry that we mentioned. Visit today's episode. Again, it was flipping50.com/Guy Show. And if you enjoyed the show, please leave a rating in iTunes. It really helps you and I spread the word about Flipping 50 and making it the norm. And then share this with a friend to surround yourself with a supportive community of women on the same journey. What are you waiting for? Start Flipping 50 today.